Who's cool in H-Town? Thank you for tuning into Fox Files Cold and Unsolved, my show where I highlight the many cold case murders here in Houston, Texas, through my segment of My Beautiful Souls. And then I will move on over to Dear Sister, a letter to let you know that you are not forgotten. And that's my letter where I highlight the many rapes, murders, kidnappings, and our missing sisters. I'm Cass, H-Town's Army brat. Let's get at it. Again, thank you, and I welcome you to my show. If you're new to the show, I thank you for coming, and I ask that you please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and please share. Share the video because you never know who needs to hear the video, who needs to see the video, because this is an informative show. Again, if you don't know, now you know. It's an informative show. So I like to get the information out there about the cases that have been solved, so we people can understand that so we people can understand that the things that are going on in our culture, for one, and then so we can, for the ones who have been solved, but for the ones who are unsolved and still missing, we can figure out how to get these people found and get the cases solved. So like I said, I'm not an investigative show. I'm not an investigator. I'm not police. Only thing I do is report. I talk what I research, and I talk about what I find. And this is something that I'm passionate about, because how can we move on as people if we still can't find out who killed our people, who kidnapped our people? So that's what this show is for, and that's what it's about. And again, I say it's informative because I like to give statistics on certain things that, maybe you do know about, maybe you don't know about, and maybe you know a little bit about, and you could always gain more knowledge, right? Right. So let's move on to, if, like I said, if you are new to the show, the first thing I like to always do, like I said, is give you a little bit of information of a statistic of some type, of some sort, and I do that through what I call my Did You Know snippet. It's just a snippet because it's just a snippet of information. So I want to know if you know certain things that I find out and I find very interesting, and sometimes it does relate to a case or two that I'm speaking on. So with my today's Did You Know, I'm talking about missing. Again, back to the missing. Yes, back to the missing. Did you know? Did you know that according to the Texas Center of Missing Persons, there is a reported number of 47,670 people who are missing in the state of Texas? Yes, 47,670 people who are missing. And of the 47,670 people in Texas that are missing, 34,828 of them are children under the age of 18, and 12,842 of them are adults. So we have 47,000 missing, 34,000 children, 12 adults. So what are y'all doing? I do that. I get emotional. So hold slow. I'm trying to get because I'm trying to work on the timing of my show. Anyway, back to the script. In Harris County alone, there are 7,335 missing children and 3,552 missing adults that are reported as of 2022. So let me make sure I get the accurate timing, because we haven't considered 23 yet, because we haven't reached the end. So we have no idea what the whole vast of missing persons reported this year. So we'll find out. So my question is, how is it possible that there are more children missing than adults? Like, I understand adults are a little bit more trickier to subdue and a little bit more trickier to kidnap. But why are we? How is it? I ask my questions, because How more children are missing than adults? How is that? How is that? These people are just snatching children. They're just taking the kids, and it's not new. This is not, as of what happened last year. This is just in the database up until last year. So far, we have 10,000. I did the math somewhere, y'all. It is 10,887 people in Texas are reported missing in Harris County. Excuse me, in Harris County, not Texas, Harris County, as of December 2022. So this is the annual report. That's what it states. So you get a report annually, and how you find these numbers and the statistics of these numbers is you can always go to them. Name Us. Name Us is the, like it says, National Missing and Unidentified Person System. Now, if you've watched the show before, you've seen me speak on Name Us, because I speak on these websites often on my shows, because these are the sites that I get my information from, and these are the sites that you can get your information from, and these are also the sites that you can report your information to. So if you do happen to go on to nameus.gov and you do your registration, you have to register for this website. So if you to utilize it. So if you get on there and you do your registration and you know of someone that's missing, all you have to do is put your information in there, and they'll be able to let you know if that person is in their database, because the United States the database of unclaimed and missing persons. So there is a law that has been passed in the state of Texas where it's called the Texas Missing Persons Law, and it is for when somebody has been reported missing, they have no other choice but to report every important identifying marker, every important identifying factor, every important anything on this person that they found that was missing, because it needs to be in the database, because you never know who knows somebody from where, because the database is nationwide. So you can be here in Texas and know of a situation in Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? Or you can be here in Texas and look at on the database and see somebody who is in Virginia. So that's what I'm saying. Everything that they find everywhere is in the database. And Texas has a law to where you have to do this. Now, I can't speak on any other state. But here, I couldn't get a photo image of the actual stats, because every time I try to pull up, StreamYard, you can only put certain type of images on here. And the images that was coming up of the statistics, not the images I can use. So anywho, this is what I got. As of 12/2022, in Harris County, 10,887 missing persons. This is the amount of the children, and that's the amount of the adults, right? So did you know that this is what is going on in your county, Harris? This is what's going on in Harris County. So what are we going to do? This is not being spoken upon. This is not being spoken upon at all, because there should be an outpour of support, an outpour of resources to be given for this, because 10,000 people in Texas, 47,000 people in America are missing. This is America. This is Texas. 10,000 in Harris. Come on, man. Come on, y'all. So yeah, that was Did You Know? Did you know that the vast amount of missing persons is vast? The amount of missing people in Texas is vast. And it's still steady growing, because you're steady looking at different places, Walmart and Kroger and places like that, and they have those signs up. Have you seen me? And I'm missing, and all that. Yeah, that was Did You Know, guys? Did you know that there are 47,670 people missing in the state of Texas, and 10,887 of those belong to Harris County? 7,500, no, 7,000, I want to do it right. 7,335 are children, and 3,552 are adults. Help us find these people. Okay. Okay. So as we move on, I like to. It's time to get into one of my sensitive and um very sensitive topics, which is my next segment, and it's my beautiful souls. And the reason why I say this is a sensitive topic and subject for me is because it speaks on the cold cases here in Houston. So it helps us to understand that we still have a lot of work to do because we have a lot of cases that have not been looked at, and evidence is sitting in the storage lockers uh, that in the boxes. You know me. If you watch my shows, you know how I feel about cold case boxes on the shelf in the closet. It drives my soul because that's what you need. Oh, I gotta adjust my little cushion. That's what you need in order to find out what happened to this beautiful soul. And yes, put this beautiful soul to rest. They have to be put to rest because that's the order of nature. You know what I'm saying? So we have to, as a community, as a community, as a culture, as a community, not even a culture, as a culture, because we're Houston, we're Houstonians. Houston is a culture. Houston is a vibe. Houston. So we have to get together and band together and figure out how we can help change some of the situations and how we can divulge some of our resources. And resources and being resourceful does not always mean you have to be financially obligated to something. This is resource, blah, 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 blah. This is me being resourceful right now. I'm not getting any kind of monetary gain for this. I'm not looking for monetary gain for this. What I'm looking for I get excited. Hold on. Let me take a sip. It's coffee. The thing that I am looking for out of this is, again, giving information. I love the history of things. I love how things happen. How did this happen? This happened. So how did it happen? And who did it? Sometimes why? Sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I like to do. And not freeing souls so much because I'm not in the business of freeing souls, but again, bringing knowledge. So I digress as I digress and pass the time. My beautiful soul. Today, guys, my headline reads, 8-foot tall weeds is where he lurked, by Cass Sam. So today, we are going to be talking about young and beautiful Trellis Sykes. Trellis Sykes, y'all. Here we go. 8-foot tall weeds is where he lurked. May 13, 1994, 16-year-old Trellis Sykes was on her way to Worthing High School, where she was a star basketball player. But unfortunately, she would never make it there. Instead, they found her lying in 8-foot tall weeds in an abandoned lot by a row of abandoned houses in Sunnyside in 1994. Trellis's aunt Pam says that herself, her daughter, and Trellis's mother all went out looking for Trellis the next morning when she never came home from school. Trellis's mother, right? Look at it. So our edges, baby, please. We had these usual edges way back in the 70s, y'all. Y'all don't know nothing about it today. Look at that. Trellis and her mom. So while they were out searching, they came across the police and a whole vast of police cars staged in front of this area with these high, tall weeds around abandoned houses. So when they bring the body out on the stretcher, Trellis's mom, her leg is exposed, and her mother recognizes the shoe. And immediately he's frantic. That's my baby, that's my baby, that's my daughter. So now we know that here lies 16-year-old Trellis Sykes, a Worthing basketball player. Look at her. And she ran track. Look at her. Very athletic. Loved by her friends, loved by many. What in the world happened this day to where Trellis came up missing, first of all, and then now she's met her demise. So it is stated that everyone knows that Trellis was the star in her family, and that basketball was her passion and her dream career. She stood 6 feet tall, and she towered over the majority of her teammates and their opponents. So they gave her the nickname of Tree, but only one E now, Tre. So you got to go back a little bit, just a little bit, because maybe had things been different in a little bit before, things might have been different then, right? So here we go. 17 months before Trellis's murder, a 17-year-old Worthing High School female student was walking home on the same path and was raped. She says that she was attacked from behind by a man claiming to have a gun. He forced her into an abandoned house. He made her lay down on the nasty floor. He told her not to look at him. And then he tied her and then he raped her. He tied her panties around her eyes and then he raped her. And then he made her count out loud while he left. She immediately reported the rape. A rape kit was conducted on her, and the DNA evidence of the rapist was collected. But this evidence sat on a shelf and on backlog for 20 years. This is 1993. So 3 months after that rape, another girl was raped. Was raped the same manner, shoved into the abandoned homes in the same area. The same manner. Panties wrapped around her eyes made the count. 2 months after that, another young girl walking through this path. The exact same situation happened. And the craziest thing about it is, none of these girls knew that this was happening to the other girl because this stuff was not reported. They reported it, but who they reported it to didn't report it to anyone else, right? It's crazy. How do you have a girl claiming to have been raped, do a rape kit, and you get the evidence off the rape kit? So they ended up, like I said, 20 years later, in 2013. Oh, here we go. So, jumping the gun. So, in the 17 months leading up to Trellis's murder, there is a total of 11 women and girls who were raped at the exact same area in the exact same manner, in the abandoned houses that were surrounded by those high weeds. And the youngest victim was known to be 12 years old. So, in 2013, 20 years later, the backlog of rape cases were finally getting tested. And lo and behold, when the DNA from the Sunnyside rape victims is tested, a hit comes back. They finally got the evidence. So they find the guy who did all those rapings. So that's a good thing. That's what I want to say. I said all that about that situation because we talk about the rapes too. So that rape was solved. But unfortunately, the person who did those rapes is not responsible for Trellis's murder. This person did not do this to her. There is DNA evidence on her body. Guess what, guys? And if you have watched my show before, I always I've spoken of DNA, and I talk about what I talk about. Let's talk about minuscule amount of DNA left behind. And guess what was left behind on Trellis back in 1994? On May the 13th, 1994, a minuscule amount of DNA evidence was found on her body belonging to her killer, her rapist, and her murderer. So, on the grand scheme of things, they did hold on to this evidence from 1994. It does not match the Sunnyside rapist. So, he right now is in the clear, right now, for Trellis. They're not as when you speak when you watch the recordings and you see, because if watch the recordings and see before I jump the gun, you'll see that they're not even entertaining the idea of the two being. The police are not entertaining the idea of the two being connected, but the media, of course, being the media, wants it to be connected. So Courtney Fisher on ABC 13 has a show called Unsolved. I thought I was able to get an image, but like I say, dealing with StreamYard, they don't let you get what they want you to get. Anyway, so I couldn't get the image, but it's called Unsolved. It comes on channel 13, and then you can also watch it on Hulu. So this episode plays on there. And on there, she does go to the prison and speaks to the guy who's convicted for the rapes, but not at all even considered for Trellis. However, there is DNA. So the technology they had back in 1994 does not match the technology that is today. So they can take that minuscule evidence and they can locate who it belongs to. And that's what they're working on now, guys. So the DNA evidence that was taken was not enough to get a profile, but today it's more likely. The police have reopened the case and is testing all of the evidence found at the crime scene. So here's Sweet Trellis. I'm put her basketball. Look at that. That's Trellis. She was loved by many. Her friends, her funeral was the saddest thing. They said it was packed. When you look at the video footage, you can see the love that everyone displayed to her. Everyone had for her teammates, her classmates, her teachers, everyone, anyone and everyone. So if you have any kind of information or on anything that could have possibly happened to Sweet Trellis Sykes out of Sunnyside, Texas, who was a junior at Worthing High School in 1994 and was murdered walking to school, please do not hesitate to reach out to the Houston Cold Case Squad at 713-308-3618 or the tip line at 713-222-TIPS. Now, when it comes to these lines, my suggestion is to leave a very detailed message. And then if you don't get a call back, call back. And if you don't get a call back, call back. But if you don't get a call back and you're really not interested, and keep playing these games with the people who are responsible to take lead in cases and take control and help us find these people, then you can always reach out to me, Cass, at Santis7production.com. at Santis7production@gmail.com. Please put in the subject bar Fox Files, and maybe you can put a name next to that if you choose. But in the detail, of course, in the description or whatever, you will have to tell me what it is about. Big deal, no big deal. So we'll work on it there, and then we can both work together and try to figure out how to get these solved. Or you can also reach out to me at facebook.com/CassSan. Okay, guys, that was my beautiful soul for today. Miss Trellis Sykes, walking to school and didn't make it to school because someone just couldn't let her make it. And taking her, and it's sad to say it like this, but taking her pride and taking her dignity was enough. Dignity wasn't enough when you raped her, but you had to take her life as well. So we have to find out who did this to our sister. This happened in 1994. That is 29, coming up on May 13th, in a couple of weeks, 29 years. We cannot let 30 years get here and we have not found out what happened to young Trellis. Right. So now we're moving on along to my beautiful souls. Not my beautiful, not my beautiful souls, y'all. It's dear sister, ... a letter to let you know that you are not forgotten. And this one is going to go back to the did you know. It's going to kind of coincide with did you know when it comes to missing persons. Because again, like I said, there's so many missing people in the world. So this is dear sister ... Are you missing or are you murdered? Answer me, please. Like, answer me, please. Anyway, so I said, thank you so much for tuning in. Today, we will be talking about the missing. Get my tongue. The missing. Our missing Black girls. As sad as it is to say this, but this is a topic that is not spoken of enough. Not enough. They talk about it, but not enough. And out of the thousands of missing Black females, I'm only going to discuss three. Just three of them for today. But while we know that these Black girls are indeed missing, the main question is, are they still alive? That's the main question. Are you still alive? Okay. So today, the first that we're going to speak of is our dear sister, Christine Green. Christine Green. Anyway, y'all. Christine Green. Okay, so the way they're saying the way the case is categorized is however you look at it. Okay. They're saying that Christine was a runaway and that she was an endangered person. But like she's either a runaway or she's endangered. You can't be both. So she wasn't, her missing persons report was not taken seriously. That's what I'm trying to say. Because like it's like, how do you see it? This young girl, she's 16. You know what I mean? Make sure I get her age. She left home on her way to school and never made it to school. She was supposed to arrive to school on the 23rd of April in 1985. I'll give you the date. 1985. April 23rd, 1985. 16-year-old Crystal Green was on her way to school. They're saying she ran away, and other people are saying that she might be in danger. It is unlikely for her to have skipped school or not attending classes because that's not who she was. When they investigated and went to the school and found out and asked questions, they seen that she was a perfect school. She was a perfect attendant. She never missed that to school, and she never felt like she had a reason to. So that wasn't in her. So for her to disappear without, reason, everybody's concerned. Everybody should be concerned. And if you're not concerned, then it's a good question about why. So Christine's mother at the time reported that Christine's mother at the time was ill and bedridden. So out of the 8 children, she was the one that they really depended on. And she was young. She was 16. She had a great relationship with her siblings and with her parents. But it was unusual gossip circling around saying, when teenagers go missing, they usually just run away, go off, be with some boy, whatever. But with this speculation, it didn't make any sense because Christine told everybody that the speculation was that Christine ran off after she found out she was pregnant. There's no guarantee, and there's no evidence that she was pregnant. But they're saying, adding to the mystery of this disappearance, she didn't get to school that day. Where did she go when she left her house? Who picked her up? Seen her? Somebody said that she was seen at school, but everybody else was like, no, she wasn't there because school closed early. And when school closed early, she should have made it home. So they didn't see her there. And they're thinking that she might have rolled the subway to Philadelphia. They just don't know. And that's what makes these cases like this, so confusing because the information is so small. And if this disappearance or runaway, as they want to call it, was taken more seriously at the time, then maybe they could have got a little bit more information or found out a bit more of what she was up to. Was she actually pregnant? They didn't do the investigation that they needed to do. Somebody said they seen her getting off the bus with a person, and then she was a girl. Like, so many people are saying so many different things that they really just don't know what happened to Christine. No one knows what happened to Christine. So this is what they're assuming she looks like as of now. These are age progressive video images of what she should be. You know, it is. They're also stating that around the time that she disappeared, another young man was on the bus around the same time, and he told if he would have with his friend on the bus, he told his friend he was getting ready to get off the bus and go meet a girl, and that was the last time they seen him. Nobody's saying the two cases are connected because they're claiming that she could have been pregnant. But if you were pregnant in 1985 and it's 2013 and you still think your mom and daddy mad at you for that, then you know what I'm saying? So again, my question at the beginning of this dissertation of this segment was, are you missing or are you murdered? Because that's the good question. You shouldn't be afraid to come home and introduce your mother to her 34, 35-year-old grandchild. So what happened to you, Christine? If anybody knows anything about Christine, knows anything that could have happened to her, this is again a age progressed image of her. Do not hesitate to reach out to the Philadelphia Police Department at 215-286-3093. You know, they can figure this out with you. You know, this is 1985. So if you've seen this, you know this lady. She looks like she could be a teacher. If this is what her real image is, she looks like she could be a school teacher. Like, Miss Green. Not being funny, but have you seen her? Did you see her getting off the bus? Did you see her walking down the street? Did she fall ill after trying to have an abortion? You know, there's a lot of speculation out there about Miss Christine Green, that she left, that she could have been with this boy that got off the bus the same time she went missing. Nobody knows. So if you do, please share. Christine stood about 5 foot tall and weighed 90 pounds. She had black and dark brown hair and brown eyes. And in 1984, Christine had her left kidney removed, resulting in a surgical scar on her left flank. So on the left side of her, in the front of her left stomach, she has a scar. It is also reported that if she would develop a fever, she would have been medication. So she hadn't too far, I guess, had this surgery. So where is this pregnancy? Where is this pregnancy stuff coming in? And her dental records and fingerprints are not on file, but her DNA is. Her nicknames were Dinky and Tina. If she would still be alive right now, they say she'll be 52 years old. So 52, 53 years old, if she would still be alive today. We can always check the Doe Network. You know, I've warned you. You know, you can go to namus.gov. You can go to the Doe Network, and you could go to your local police department website. You can find out the missing person information, and they will have all of these identifying scars. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to the NAMUS website, and I'm going to put in my search field to filter left scars, like left kidney scars, whatever. You know what I mean? And we'll see. Maybe we can find her. Maybe we can find her. That's what this is about. Being informative, get your information out there. So if you do know anything, or if you're interested in finding out more about Christine Green, this is her name, my dear sister, and her number is case number 85-12-02-024179. So yes, so my dear sister, Christine Green, I want you to know that we love you and you are not forgotten. And we're going to find out what happened to you. If you don't want to be found, tough, we're going to find you. But if you need to be found, we're going to find you. All right, we're going to move on along because, like I said, we were talking about 3 missing or murdered young girls on today's show. Not the next one we're going to speak on is young Ikila Lynn Hodrick case KNMP 09175. Right, right. This is for instance. Hold on, let me get you. Ikila. This is her on the left. All right. This is Ikila. Story reads: August 12th, 1985 at 6:30 p.m. in the Kingsbridge Heights neighborhood in Bronx, New York. Torona and her daughter, Ikila, was sitting on the stoop enjoying a hot summer day. The ice cream truck passes by, and Ikila, being the 9-year-old that she is, has to have ice cream in her life or she ain't gonna make it. You know, I got it. I need it. Her mom was like, no, girl, go sit down somewhere. You're not gonna get no ice cream. You ain't even ate dinner yet. I'm not saying those are her words, but you know, I'm ad-libbing. Give her some words. But no was the ultimate answer anyway. So no was what she told. No ice cream. So Ikila decides just whatever. And she's very street savvy, very smart and educated. And she dancing and dancer. So she's like whatever, and she just dances off and goes on about her business. That's what she does. Down the sidewalk, up the sidewalk in the direction of the ice cream truck. So a couple of her mama homegirls, they walk by, get her, attention, distracted her. But all along, Tiara has her eyes on Ikila, but that's all it takes is that one little second to the right, to the left, and that's what she did, to the right, to the left, and she come back. There's no sight of Ikila, so they're searching, looking high and low, and they can't find her nowhere. So later on the evening, Tiara's niece comes and she's like, well, I seen Ikila down at the arcade playing video games, so she's like, okay, cool. They're waiting on her to come. This is later on in the evening, but when nighttime comes, she doesn't show up. Now they're worried. Then they go off and they go to the, reporting to the authorities. So Officer McDonald, he says that he took this case seriously from the jump. But him and his partner on the case, they were not given the respect. They were not given the resources. They were not given the attention that they needed in order to get this case moving. But they hit the ground running, and they did everything they could. They went as far as locating the ice cream truck guy, and he said he didn't see her. He's so many kids, he can't remember how many, who was who and where was where, and he just does not know. So they had no choice but to move on from the ice cream truck guy and then go to the arcade. It's 1985. There is no video surveillance cameras in arcades today. Kids running and coming out of arcades all the time, So nobody seen or nobody, they don't know. So they're stuck with there. They decide to go ahead and get the dogs out because it's been a couple of days now. And this baby is not home and there's no sight. So they go get the dogs, and the dogs trail her scent to the train station. And on the main train station, right station, they have to fight. They said they fought tooth and nail with their leadership in order to get the resources that they could to move forward. And the Metro train, the North Metro train line is where the dogs led them to. It was a hole there, but they needed to be able to and to go down this tunnel because that's where the homeless people were known to gather and to live and stuff like that. So they needed to be able to have access to this tunnel. It's a main train line. It's called the North Main Train. So it's a main train line. The people didn't want them to let them stop this train. The uppers didn't want them to stop it either. They were like, no, you're doing too much. They were like, no, the dogs led us here. We need to go further, and we can't go further because these trains are steady whipping and whipping. So finally, they decided to let the trains move at 30 miles an hour. Well, stop the train. We're going to slow them down, so you better run. You better run. So they stopped the trains. Not stop them. They let the trains roll for 30 miles an hour. So they give them a chance to get on the tracks, go to the hole, search the hole. But they couldn't go no further. They couldn't get anything past this hole as far as her scent. So they walked down the tunnels and, talked to some of the homeless people to see if they had any idea of what was going on. So when the detective McDonald was headed back up the tunnel, one homeless lady says, like, going about her business, you know how they do. She just says, "Oh, you're not gonna find this girl. They buried her in Yonkers. So the detective didn't think none of it as he was walking past, just an old, and he's like, whatever, girl, type of thing. And then as he's walking away, he's leaving out the train, like off the train tracks. And he's like, wait a minute. Tiara has a boyfriend who lives in Yonkers, or ex-boyfriend. And even though she's not on drugs and anything like that, because she's doing the best that she can to create the best life for her daughter, Akila, they're like, okay, well, let me go talk to the boyfriend. So, first the detective went back to look for the lady, because he's like, I want to talk to her to see exactly what she knows. But when he went back, couldn't find her. Still couldn't find her. And still can't find her to this day. Don't know where she is, don't know, because he didn't get a good look at her. It was just an old, lady in the train tracks. Anyway, so they're going out there, and he's questioned because some kind of way. He's questioned, and he's claiming he does not know what happened to Akila. And they're cracking him. They're not letting it go because his vehicle was seen around the area, and he was seen getting in it with somebody else driving. And then they come to find out that his roommate was the one driving the vehicle, and the vehicle was located in the area, like not located, was like somebody seen the car in the area of the ice cream truck around this time. So it's a possibility. We don't know. Couldn't find anything else out about it. So after that, they couldn't hold the boyfriend because they didn't have the body. They didn't really have any kind of probable cause for him to take the kid. So they had to let him go. And that was that. It's like, what can we do? Then, well, like I say, they said the Detective McDonald and his partner really went in on this investigation. They talked to everybody. And then one neighbor was like, this situation kind of sounds like a situation that happened back in the 50s with young Ethan. Young Ethan, same thing, 6-year-old little kid outside playing. He gets snatched up and is never seen or found again until 2016, 2017, when it get out that a man in the same area, Kingsbridge neighborhood, his body was in the basement of the apartment building adjacent to the man who stole him. So that's where he had been since the 50s. So this person brings it up to the detective, like, maybe you should try to, but at the time in 1985, they don't know that this guy is the reason who has Ethan. So they haven't even found Ethan in 1985. So they're bringing it up, saying that, this sounds like a case a couple, years back where Ethan went missing, and he's still missing in 1985. So they go take it, of course, to their leadership, and they're like, you know what? You have no leg to stand on. This is crazy. So let this go. This little girl probably gone with her daddy somewhere. We don't know, because nothing has ever been said about who her father is or where her father is. It's just her mother. But her mama believes that she's still alive. Her mama says she feels in her heart, in her soul, that her baby is still here, and there's nothing you can do to change it. And Detective McDonald's like, and there's nothing I'm going to do to try to change it. I'm going to let her believe that. So this is Akila on the left at the time of her disappearance. And this is an age progressive video of image of what they think she would be at age 27. And this is what they think she should look like now, because she was 9 years old in 85. So that means she was born in 74. So that means she's about to be 50. And this is be her at 50. So this is her then. And this will probably be her now. Do you know her? Have you seen her? Help us find her. Her mother needs some kind of solid, some kind of peace. Her mother needs some kind of rest. Her mother needs, and her family needs it. So if you do know anything, I have heard anything on this, please, or remember anything. If you're one of them kids that was outside at the ice cream truck that day, and we kind of remember her, little yellow, what I'm saying, or if you were a kid at the arcade that day and you remember her, do you remember her talking to anyone? Do you remember her leaving with anyone? What do you remember about that day? And if you do remember anything, please do not hesitate to reach out to the New York Police Department, 212-694-7781. And they will take you to where you need to go, and they will get you the information and they will take down your information. They will do what they have to do. But if you are like a lot of people that I know and aren't too bothered by talking to the man and getting him in your business, let them know what you got going on with yourself, or you feel like they're not going to help you out because they haven't answered your calls or they have not answered the phone, please do not hesitate to reach out to me at 7production@gmail.com and put in the subject bar box files, and I will respond. Okay, guys, that was Ikeda Lynn. Back up there. Ikeda Lynn Hottrix. Case number KNMP09175. Anything, please reach out to me, guys. All right. So we're keeping on, my dear sister. Missing or murdered edition. And the last, but definitely not least, I wrote a headline for this one. And it says 12 years old and pregnant. Yes, sir. Selena Janet Mays. Or Selena Janet Mays. No, it's Janet, or is it Jeanette? Anyway, they call her Janet. All right. It was on the evening of December 15, 1996 in Willowsboro, New Jersey neighborhood. Selena was seeing her aunt seeing her getting ready to go to bed that night, December 15, 1996. So her aunt seen her going to bed, no big deal. The following morning, when her father, CJ Mays, checked on her, she was gone. Nowhere to be found. The pillows were arranged under her blankets to give the impression that she was laying there asleep. So she didn't run away. She was 9 months. Well, she was claimed to have ran away. Again, they claimed she ran away. She was 9 months pregnant and at 12 years old. Then her prenatal vitamins were still there. All of her personal items were still there. And so was her purse. At 12 years old, prenatal vitamins. That's just hard to fathom for me. But, I mean, of course you might not know to gather. I mean, I don't know. Because, I mean, if you're 12 years old and you're in that type of situation, you don't know the situation. I don't know the situation. So I cannot judge and I will not judge. But I will say this. At 12 years old, you haven't been pregnant. That's what I'm going to say. Say this. So anyway, the only people that live in that house was Selena, her father, her stepmother, and her aunt. And there was other relatives that lived there. CJ worked as an accountant at a New Jersey church that his sister pastored to. And it is a religious background, but also it's very strict. And if you know religious background, people who are religious, they are strict. So this is a religious, strict upbringing, and she was homeschooled. So it was a surprise to the family when they found out that this 12-year-old little girl is pregnant. Like, okay, your daddy live here, your mama live here, your aunt live here, some cousins live here, and you don't go to school, so you don't have a social life, you don't have no friends, and you're pregnant. All right, so somebody got some flame on there. So the church that CJ and his sister worked for, which is called the Gospel of Christ Ministry Incorporated, was the subject of a controversy. Like, some people make the claim that this church would have brainwashing techniques of the members, and Selena's family was believed to okay, and Selena's family believed that her mother's side believed that no, her family, excuse me, Selena's family believed that the former members of the church who had issues with how the church was ran and left the church took her and is hiding her away. And then to further complicate things, in the investigation, the daddy stopped being cooperative with the police. So they're trying to figure out the coming and goings and the ins and outs of your church, because your 12-year-old daughter who does not have a social life is pregnant and now missing with none of her belongings. So what is really going on here? Like, what she look like, huh? What she look like? This is Selena, y'all. Selena Mates. They call her Janet. So according to the Charlie Project, they state that one of the Selena's relatives said the young girl was murdered by her father in order to make sure nobody ever found out that he was the father of the child. So, I mean, when your baby is pregnant at 12 with no social life, and then she come up missing at 9 months pregnant, of course they're going to think that you have a hand in this fight, and then you stop cooperating. Why you don't want to tell me what happened? Where she at? You say you woke up in the middle of the night, she was gone. But I ain't seen her going to bed. But then it was pillows, arranged like that. Other people are saying that she might have snuck out to have an illegal abortion at 9 months pregnant and ended up dying as a result. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. This is what she looked like at the time of her disappearance. And this is what they're saying that she could look like now. An age progressive photo of her as she moves on in the ages of life. And of course, here we go. Name Us is where I get this information from. That's why I'm posting it. Name Us, and then the true crime discussion and missing persons cases as well. These are good sites to go to find out if you know anybody who might be missing, or just find out anything about anybody who's missing. So this is Selena. I mean, they have so many different ways they think this lady could look, and here it is. Cousin could have held, they held the cousin. I jumped. Okay. So while the authorities maintain they have no idea who the father to this child was, there were rumors that it was her cousin. I went too soon. There were rumors that it was her cousin. And this relative was soon interviewed after Selena went missing, and he claimed that he had no knowledge of where she could be. And the aunt believes that her father is a 12-year-old boy that she met while they were roller skating with the church. So they're thinking that, okay, she had a chance to sneak off and go do it at the skating rink because she had no social life. She was homeschooled. Everything was about family, and that was it. So this case caused her family to be at odds. Her mama passed away from brain aneurysm 2 years before Selena's disappearance. And that's why her father had her. So many of her mother's family believe that 12-year-old girl was met with foul play by her father. The father's side believed that the mama's side have her. Both of those are a possibility. All of that is a possibility. But since her disappearance, people have reported seeing her in New Jersey, Texas, and New York. But none of these sightings have been confirmed. None of them. So, as of 2023, she would be 36. She was like 12 in 96, 36. 37, 38, anyway, whatever. When she went missing, she was 12 and she was 9 months pregnant, At the time of her disappearance, she was 5 feet tall and 120 pounds. That's what it was. The day she went missing was December the 15th, and she was scheduled to give birth to her child on December 29th. So she was brand new pregnant. Somebody is hiding something. What made Selena run is the subject of the newspaper. But she can't even have her own story by herself. This young black girl, well, she's mixed race, but anyway, this young black girl who's missing, kidnapped, or murdered, and was possibly raped by her family, is missing. And on the same spread, you got John Benet Ramsey. John Benet Ramsey got to be on the same paper. I'm not trying to take it there, but come on, man. This is the reason why we can't find out what's going on with our girls, because they're always trying to trump our girls with their girls. We need our own spread and hit Fox Files cold and unsolved. It's really, really frustrating. So the details on her disappearance are like this. 11 p.m. on December 15th, she went to bed at her auntie's residence where she lived with her father and several of her cousins. On Crestview Drive in Willingboro, New Jersey. So her daddy went to go check on her the next morning. She was gone. Pillows was placed in the spot where she was laying at to be assumed to be asleep. Her personal belongings were still left at the house. Her purse, her prenatal vitamins, and her personal belongings that go in the purse, and her clothes, her underclothes, things that you need. And she's about to have a baby in 9 days, the 29th, what, a week. She's getting ready to give birth. So she was homeschooled, and she grew up in a strict religious belief household with her daddy, his wife, the aunt, and the cousin. The baby's father has never been identified, but it's believed that it could be her own father or her own cousin. But the cousin is who they'd rather put it on, because it just would not make any sense to put it on the daddy. Of course, she's not living in no hell house, because they are the church. They are of the church. The auntie preaches in the church. Preach what? Preach what? People always want to use religion. Her mama died of brain aneurysm, a couple years before all this. So she had no advocacy at all, because when her mother passed away, her daddy took her and kept her away from her mother's side, and they had their way with that girl. So maybe she found a way to get away, or maybe they found a way to get her away. Either way it goes, where are you? Where are you? If you have any information on anything that could have happened to Miss Selena Jeanette Mays, aka Janet, please reach out to the Willingboro Police Department at 609-877-2253. I want to cite my sources real quick. I should have wrote my sources down while I cite them, but I got a lot of my information from the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children. I got it from Name Us. I get my information from the Doe Network. I get it from the Courier Post, Kindred Spirit. There's a vast amount of sources that you get your information from. I don't get it from all of sources, but there's certain sources that I get and I cite them, and I needed to put that out there. I need to cite my sources. Yeah, I am a professional. All right. So if you have any information on what could have happened to Miss Selena Mays, please reach out to the Willingboro Police Department, 609-877-2253. And I can always tell you, if you ain't with it, you ain't with it. You don't have to, because you can always reach out to your girl, Cass. I'm talking on at Census7production.com. Census7production@gmail.com. Please put in the subject bar of the email Fox Files, and then I will know what it's about, and I will get directed to it. Or you can hit me up on my Facebook page at facebook.com/Cassan. Do not inbox me on here, because you will not get a response. You will not get checked. Too much happening. I don't have time for it. So just send me a shout out on the page. Leave a message or comment on the page. I got you. All right, people. That was Fox Files Cold Unsolved. And if you know about me, you must know that I always end it with my wrap 'em up, cap 'em up. And wrap 'em up, cap 'em up is going to be where I highlight or just go over. I will highlight or go over My beautiful soul that I've spoken on before, and I'm going to give you an update on it. Here we go. My girl, back at her, Kanisha Dixon. Kanisha Siobhan Dixon. Her murder number is 5090986-00 for my wrap 'em up, cap 'em up. Kanisha was murdered May 9, 2000 in her apartment. Single gunshot to the chest as soon as she opened up her apartment door. There was something going on in her life to where she was in fear for her life. So the roommate that she was just moving to the apartment with gave her a gun for her safety. When she goes, somebody knocks on the door, she opens the door, and boom, she's shot and found dead right there. Young, 20, 21 years old, 19, 20, young girl. So the police did extensive search, investigation around and got a lot of information, but nothing panned out because here we are 23 years later, and we still haven't found out what happened to Kanisha Dixon. This happened on West Forum, 6300 block of West Forum, and some apartments over there. The apartments are no longer there now because I went and I looked at it. They're not there. But that's where she was. That's where it happened at in those apartments. Who was she afraid of? Do you know? How did this happen? Did you see anything? Do you remember being in that location at that time? May 9th, 2000. Kanisha Dixon, y'all. My wrap 'em up, Captain. She's our beautiful soul. She still her murder still has not been solved. They are not working it. When I call to speak on it, I don't get an answer. I've called several times and I had to leave messages. I've gone too far. I have not gone as far as going down there. So maybe that's the next step. But we'll see where it takes us to. Right? So, ladies and gentlemen, that was my episode of Fox Files Cold and Unsolved. I need a fan. As you can see, I am sweating. But I thank you so much for tuning in. I had my time set and I went over time 8 minutes. So thank you for your 8 minutes of extra time. You get a dance. You know what I'm saying? So if you made it this far, you get a dance. And thank you so much. Again, like, subscribe, and please share the videos because again, you don't know who can help. And say what you know, because I didn't say it. How do you know what you know until you say what you know? I say it every day. Every day at all my shows, I say, how do you know what you know unless you say what you know? So say what you know. Reach out to whoever you need to reach out to get whatever story you need to get out. Get it out, right? Right. All right, people. This was Fox Files, Cold and Unsolved. I'm Cass, H-Town's Army Brat. I thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll check y'all next time. Be easy, H-Town.